Today we're talking about grading Pokemon cards. So grab out all your cards you think you might want to grade. This video is going to be step-by-step following along to help you decide if you should actually grade those cards. And before we jump into it, I want to make sure you guys stay till the end of this video because I'm giving you my personal rule of thumb. I call it the 3 of 4 rule. It's going to make choosing which cards to grade so much easier for you. And as always, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave me a comment below. I always love hearing from you guys. Let's get it. So whenever I get asked this question, I always ask a question back. And that's, what's your goal? See, there's very different answers to if you should get your cards graded based on what your goal is with grading them. Some people just collect graded cards. If you're doing it for your personal collection and that's it, in my opinion, there's no reason not to grade it. So if you're collecting for fun or for a hobby with no real investment in mind, then you can stop this video right here, go grade it, do what you want to do. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, they're Pokemon cards, they're for fun. But if you're here because you want to grade it as an investment, then I've got 5 steps for you to follow to answer that question. Should you grade the card? Step 1's a little homework. You have to understand how much is the card worth raw. And the best way to do this is to go to tcgplayer.com, search your card, and see what they value it at. Or you can also go to eBay recently sold and see what the card sold at raw. So now that you understand that baseline price, the next thing you need to do is pull out your card and identify any flaws or defects it may have. Now this can be physical defects like scratches or dents or scrapes in the hollow. Check for whitening on the back, dents, or even folds and creases. And lastly, the one that's often overlooked, check the centering of the card. And listen, I know it's human nature. It's your card. It's right in front of you. You're going to be a little lenient on these things. Try really hard to be honest with yourself if you were buying this card and determine what are the flaws. So you've got your baseline price, you understand the flaws. Next thing you want to do is grade it yourself. And I know PSA and other companies, sometimes they're a little wishy-washy on exactly what grade they're going to give it. So do the absolute best you can. But the best way to do this is look up the card. For example, first edition Blaine's Charizard, right? Look up first edition Blaine's Charizard PSA 1 and look and see, is your card close to that or is yours better? If your card's worse, don't grade. If it's better than that, now go to PSA 2. Do the same thing until you find about a card that looks very similar to yours front and back, and it's about the same quality. So now you've got a ballpark of what you might get at a grade for that card. Now you need to look up, what does that card at that grade sell for? Let's say you identified your first edition Blaine's Charizard would probably grade an 8. So the ungraded value of a Blaine's Charizard is about $470. We just found that a grade 8, $640. The final step here is you need to look at the difference between the price raw and the price graded, but also account for the cost of grading the card and subtract that from the end value of the graded card. So with our Blaine's Charizard example, what that looks like, we've got a raw card worth $470. Graded, it's worth $640. Let's say we went with PSA, and when you're calculating the cost of grading a card, so PSA ranges from $25 to $500 to grade a card purely on the predicted value, and that's for insurance purposes. There's other companies you can use that at different prices, but just for a baseline, we're using PSA. But just for ease, let's say it's going to cost us $40 to grade our Blaine's Charizard. So you subtract that 40 from the 640, you get 600, and then you subtract the 470 from the 600 and you're left with $130. So going by these guidelines, that Blaine's Charizard is worth grading. And of course there's risk involved here. You may not get that 8. If you get a 7, you're actually going to be out some money because a 7's valued the same as a raw at 470. So there's a little bit of a gamble here, but you can try to be as precise as possible. And that's why it's super important to be really honest with yourself about the damage that your card has. And keep in mind, we can open up a whole nother can of worms in this video where we talk about projected future value, because the price of a PSA 8 card now may be totally different than the price down the road. That's a whole different ballpark. So for the beginners, stick with this, and I'm going to leave you with my basic rule of thumb. I call this the 3 of 4 rule. If you can say yes to 3 of these 4 things about your card, it's worth grading. Is your card rare? Is your card old? Is your card popular? And is your card minty? If you can say yes to 3 of those 4, grade it. Hey guys, I hope this helped you when you're looking at cards to see if you should grade them. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I'm happy to help you guys out, and let me know what videos I could help you with next. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.